All right, put your hands together for the CSLDallas music team. Aren't they wonderful? And welcome to everybody who's watching us all around the globe online. And for everyone here on the campus, thank you very much for joining us today. I want to remind you that every day is a day for transformation, spiritual deepening, and heart connection, no matter what's going on. And every day we practice something important that makes a difference. We love that you're on this journey here with us today. And as we open this new month, we ask you to celebrate again by putting your hands together for the CSLDallas music team.
Well, good morning. We ask that you would join us, stand and sing and dance along as we try to make a joyful noise this morning. Everybody lift your voice in song. Come on, lift your voice in song. You can do it, sing along. And everybody lift your voice in song. Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Everything from 2 and 4. Make it louder even more. Everybody clap on 2 and 4. Living big for love, the way to go. Living big for love, the way to go. Living big's the way to go. Give it up, just let it flow. Living big's for love, the way to go. We intend to make a joyful noise. We intend to make a joyful noise. You know how to make a joyful noise. Clap your hands and lift your voice. We intend to make a joyful noise. We intend to make a joyful noise. We intend to make a joyful noise.
Woo! Jumping up and down, having a good time at CSLDallas. Welcome, good morning, and happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. We're glad you're here on campus. We're glad you're here online. So happy you could join us. My name's Joe Tinker. I'll be your platform assistant today. Kind of keep us moving along with the ideas about what's coming up, what's happening today, and how you can become more involved at CSLDallas. First of all, remember to stay connected with CSLDallas by following us on social media. We're always sharing awesome things that we're doing, sending out text messages, posting things online. That way you can stay tuned in with CSLDallas. If you are new to CSLDallas today, you can sign up to receive inspirational words of affirmation, the texts I was mentioning, important emails about upcoming events, and these kind of things. These are sent out regularly, and you can sign up today by filling out a connection card. Connection cards are located at the tables at the back of the sanctuary, and please hand that to one of the greeters, and they will get you signed up. Now, let us join together and read our purpose statement together here at CSLDallas this morning. We are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And so it is. Awesome. Let us talk about universal spiritual principles for a moment. Have you wondered what spiritual principles are or spiritual practices? I mean, these are words, but what do they really mean and how do they affect our lives? Maybe you knew there are 10 key spiritual principles. They open up a whole new understanding of the spiritual nature of the reality that we live in. There are also 10 key spiritual practices that unlock those principles, and you can use them each and every day. Join Dr. Petra this Tuesday, September 6th. So coming up this week, you are invited to an introductory class to these principles and how to apply them in your life There are day and evening classes available, so check it out online at CSLDallas.org, Universal Spiritual Principles with Dr. Petra. It's a good opportunity. Now, how about unlocking the power of conversation? Okay, let's talk about it. We live our lives one conversation at a time. And some people say we're so into it, it's just like a fish in water. They don't know that they're actually in water. We don't always know that we're in conversation, but we are living our lives talking to each other one conversation at a time, maybe more than one at a time sometimes. But someone who knows a lot about this is Dr. Tom Baldry. He's not in the sanctuary this morning, but a lot of us have met Dr. Tom. He's been with us for many years. Dr. Tom is going to facilitate a highly interactive and experiential course where we all get a chance to practice the core principles and protocols of good group dialogue. This is based on David Bohm's writings about a safe practice field he calls the container of dialogue. Now, here is where the power of authentic conversation can be unveiled and unleashed, so to speak. You can register today by going to CSLDallas.org on the events page, and this workshop will be for 5 Saturdays beginning September 10th. Coming up pretty quick, so check it out. Also about Inward Journey. If you've been coming to CSL Dallas for a while, you may have heard of this, and if you've been taking classes and participating at CSL Dallas, you know about it, and maybe it's time for you to sign up and take your spiritual journey to the ultimate level by registering for Inward Journey. Inward Journey is a course that can truly transform your experience of life and how you follow your path, actually even a path to becoming a practitioner. So you know about the practitioner core here at CSL Dallas, and Inward Journey is an important step in that direction. Learn more about all the steps and get signed up today by visiting us at CSLDallas.org. Go to the Education tab, and you can learn about Inward Journey. Now I want to invite Petra to come to the podium, and she has a couple of words to say for you.
Yay, yay. So happy to be back. I was only gone a month, but somebody else was gone 3 months. Please welcome Reverend Karen Fry back into the sanctuary. Yay! She's back from her sabbatical, and next week she's going to be talking about Unexpected Blessings, Part 3. You do not want to miss it. So you're going to be here or online next week with us. Also, I want to let you know that Reverend Karen is presenting the Reimagined Prosperity Workshop on September 25th. You know that this is her wheelhouse, and this is an opportunity for you to dive deeper into prosperity. Bring your questions, your challenges, your issues with this, and have an intimate and powerful conversation with Reverend Karen and with everyone else who signs up for this workshop. It's Saturday, September 25th, and so join us by signing up at CSLDallas.org. Go to the events page, or you can go to the education current schedule page. So, lots of exciting classes coming up. It is, after all, September. It's a Sunday. Oh, it's a Sunday, not a Saturday workshop. Thank you. After the celebration. So, you know what September means. School is in session. Get your pencils out, sharpen them up. Okay, we don't use pencils anymore. Get your laptop out, get your devices out, whatever it is. Sign up for a class. You know that what I say to you, whether you need it or not, you need to be in at least one class, if not 2, every year. It keeps us spiritually grounded, spiritually motivated. It keeps us practicing and remembering what the disciplines are that we are using to make our lives truly meaningful to ourselves and to create a contribution that we are here to give to the world. So check out the course schedule and find that one that is calling you. All right, so let's begin now as we join our music team and go deep within as we begin our celebration.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth.
me today as we go within. I can't hear myself, so there I am. Join me today as we go within and experience the great goodness together that is this oneness. I know that as I release my judgments, my senses of what is right and what is wrong and what is enough and not enough, releasing this limited personality viewpoint of life and my life and everybody else's life, and actually realize the spiritual truth, which is I am the love, I am the heart, I am the hand, I am the life of spirit, because spirit is inside, in me, as me, through me, inside you, as you, through you, every moment of every day, allowing this great goodness to fill, to overflowing, so that the love that is within you and that is within me fills each other. And this is what releases the judgment and the bias, the fear, the anger, and the pain. And what's left is the truth of who each of us is as God incarnate. And we affirm this together by saying, and so it is.
We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world.
Thank you, Val and Cleo and Matt, Jonathan, Brad, and Kirby. Thank you so much. Whew. Thank you to Dr. Tracy. Dr. Tracy Brown. Dr. Tracy Brown, are you in the house? Where's Dr. Tracy Brown? I saw her earlier. Where is she in the house? Well, when you see her, tell her thank you. We're so grateful. We know that CSLDallas has been in fabulous hands as we have vacationed. Truly grateful for Dr. Tracy Brown. Grateful for Joe Tinker, also sharing his love and light over the month of August. Thank you so much. And we know the practitioners, and many of you got an opportunity to stand up here with Dr. Tracy and give your gift through the month of August. Truly, truly, truly wonderful to know that we are all spiritually fed by each other. What a wonderful gift that is. And we're so grateful to have Dr. Tracy as somebody that we consistently rely on and can count on, and know that she has you in the palm of her hands and in her heart. We're also delighted to have Reverend Karen back from sabbatical, and I just again want to remind you that she's going to be speaking next week. As we begin our month, we're starting our month on reimagining, learning, and growing, and self-expressing. It is, after all, September. And so in September, we start school. And so today, we're starting Earth School. Right? And we're recognizing that actually part of what we're here, this is all about, being in this particular incarnation at this particular time for each of us, is that we are actually in Earth School. We are learning and growing ourselves as spiritual beings, as human beings that are becoming more and more and more aware of the truth of who we are. And life gets to... it gets to participate in that learning, doesn't it, with us? Gets to be the mirror, gets to be all the ways in which we are invited to learn and grow. Now, my experience of learning and growing is that we often think that learning and growing is about fixing and improving and learning lessons and dealing with our karma and maybe, hopefully, finding enlightenment or achieving heaven in some form or fashion. Certainly, I was raised with that. And yet, in the Science of Mind and in New Thought, we have an entirely different way of taking up learning and growth. And so we're going to explore that all month, reimagine the way in which we take this up. I'm going to, and I want to show you this. I found this slide. I love this image. And I love this image because you can see the small little plant, right? That's up, that's sprouting. And underneath is actually the whole plant that it's going to grow into, the whole tree. As we know, it's already in the seed. The tree is already there in the soil, and it needs to grow into its fullness above ground. And I think that's a lot of what we're doing as we are learning and growing about who we are. And of course, if we turn the image upside down, it's a beautiful representation of as above, so below. That belief, that idea, that quality, that impulse of life itself that is expressing itself in, through, and as each one of us is actually seeking to individualize itself here, incarnate here on this earth plane, in this earth school, as each one of us. And so this is our theme for the month, and our image for the month, which I super love. And today I'm going to share with you from one of the most seminal books that I read when I first found Science of Mind and New Thought. This is a classic. It's called Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach. It is a fiction. It's a piece of fiction. Along with the work of Carlos Castaneda, was truly one of the pieces of work that blew my mind and heart open about what's really going on. If you have not read this book, I highly recommend it. It's a good read. It's a good novel, and also extremely insightful. I'm going to begin, oopsie, went the wrong direction. I'm going to begin with a story that is a part of the beginning of this particular piece of writing. Once there lived a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. The current of the river swept silently over them all, young and old, rich and poor, good and evil. The current going its own way, knowing only its own crystal self. Each creature in its own manner clung tightly to the twigs and rocks of the river bottom, for clinging was their way of life, and resisting the current, what each had learned from birth. But one creature said at last, "I am tired of clinging. Though I cannot see it with my eyes, I trust that the current knows where it is going. I shall let go and let it take me where it will. Clinging, I shall die of boredom." The other creatures laughed and said, "Fool, let go, and that current you worship will throw you tumbled and smashed against the rocks, and you will die quicker than boredom." But the one heeded them not, and taking a breath, let go, and at once was tumbled and smashed by the current against the rocks. Yet in time, as the creature refused to cling again, the current lifted it free from the bottom, and it was bruised and hurt no more. And the creatures downstream, to whom he was a stranger, cried, "See, a miracle, a creature like ourselves, yet it flies. See the Messiah come to save us all." And the one carried in the current said, "I am no more Messiah than you. The river delights to lift us free, if only we dare to let go. Our true work is this voyage, this adventure." But they cried the more, "Savior," all the while clinging to the rocks. And when they looked again, it was gone, and they were left alone, making legends of a Savior. I remember reading that story and asking myself, am I the one clinging to the bottom? Am I so afraid of letting go, so afraid of trusting, so afraid of being battered and bruised by all the unknowns and uncertainties that I'm going to cling here? I wasn't necessarily going to die of boredom. I was going to die of drugs and alcohol and all the ways in which I was making my clinging palatable. This is the invitation. The invitation not to look at those that have gone before us, those that seem more enlightened, those that have moved themselves spiritually, whether in the Western traditions or in the Eastern traditions or in no particular spiritual tradition at all, rather than seeing them as separate or different or better or special or somehow more enlightened than us, to actually see each and every one of them as individuals who have learned and grown into who they are, and who are shining examples and beacons of light of who it is that we are, and who it is that we can grow ourselves to be. In this beautiful book, Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah, there is the Messiah's Handbook, Reminders for the Advanced Soul. I remember when I first read these, each one of them rang like a bell. And there are some of them, I will not tell you how many decades ago I read this book, but there are some of them that I continue to quote today, that have spoken and carved themselves into my consciousness so deeply, because I wanted not to die of boredom. I wanted not to cling to those things that would provide safety or security, and not to cling to those things that I thought would numb the pain or make me desirable and acceptable to others, but that I would float free into the current of life. I think that is what calls all of us. And it is not just our psychological learning and growing that we talk about in our spiritual process, in our spiritual journey. It is our spiritual growth. And the truth is, you can't get any more spiritual than you already are. You are already a spiritual being having a human experience. You are already an individualized expression of the One. We just don't know it yet. And so we begin by uncovering the truths, uncovering some of the truths of who we are. So I'm going to share with you my favorite and share with you a little bit of how they touched my heart, opened my soul and my mind. And perhaps there will be something here for you that will prod you on your journey, that will invite you into learning and growth from an entirely different perspective. Because one of the first things that I learned that I want to remind you of is that you are not broken. You are not flawed. The truth of your being is a radiant, magnificent being of love and light. That is who you are. Veiled and cloaked in a human body, a human experience, a set of circumstances that you've grown through, that you've lived through, and that we can cling to as if those things are the truth of us. And yet when we let go, those twigs and rocks that we're letting go of is all of that, and the stories that come with all of that. The veil that is that sense of separation that stands between us and the truth of our being. And as we let go and allow that current to lift us into a deeper, higher perspective, vision, view of life, everything changes. These are from the Messiah's Handbook, Reminders for the Advanced Soul. The simplest questions are the most profound. Where were you born? Where is your home? Where are you going? What are you doing? Think about these things once in a while and watch your answers change. I spent my whole growing up, my teen years, asking these questions. What in the world is going on? How did I get stuck in an abusive alcoholic family? What is the point here? I spent time suicidally depressed, and I asked myself these questions over and over and over again, searching for the answers in books and in spiritualities and religious traditions and in divination practices and in hallucinogenics and in all other kinds of ways. But the idea that the answer could change was stunning to me. And Ernest Holmes says, we find a bigger understanding of God when we have a better and bigger understanding of ourselves. So I learned that I had to discover more about myself and the truth of my being by asking these questions, not from a human and psychological point of view. Where were you born? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No. Where were you born? Oh, wait, into the space-time continuum. Where did you come from? What are you doing here? Do you see the questions become very different? They have a different perspective. You are led through your lifetime by the inner learning creature, the playful spiritual being that is your real self. Don't turn away. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. You are led through your lifetime by the inner learning creature, the playful spiritual being that is your real self. Do you know I grew up as a dancing fairy princess? I played with the fairies in my backyard. But my parents didn't believe in stuff like that, and I was told not to imagine, not to make up stories, not to waste my time on things that weren't real. I learned to become obligated and responsible. I learned to do it the correct way, because no matter what, there was always a correct way to do it. There was no opportunity for exploration and play and trying new things. No, there was a right way, and by God, you were going to learn it. And then you do it that way. The idea that there was a playful spiritual being inside was something that I left behind when I was 4. And to get permission to begin to rediscover her, that playful spiritual being that is like the otter, that is playfully moving through its life, learning and growing. How often do we take our spirituality way too seriously, and we actually use it to beat ourselves up? I want to see if this is on the next slide. Yes, this goes to the same quote, but it's the next piece of this. Don't turn away from possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them. You're always free to change your mind and choose a different future or a different past. Okay. There's so many things about this that blew me away. Trying new things. Don't be so certain you can't learn from them as opposed to doing them right. Do you see the difference? Oh my God. What if we just tried things because we were learning from them? We were learning who we are and spiritually growing, and we were learning something new as opposed to doing it and trying to do it right each and every time. You're always free to change your mind. How many of us are afraid to do our spiritual mind treatments or intentional manifestations because what if we get it and we don't like it? Now we're stuck with it. The idea that it's not just a woman's prerogative to change her mind, it is all of ours prerogative to change your mind. You manifest something, you don't like it, change your mind. Don't not go for it. You decide this is your soul's calling, you get 4 years down the road and you think, wait, this is not my soul's calling. This is not a mistake. This is a learning. It's a learning about more about who you've come here to be and the contribution that we each have to give. Do you see? Oh my God, it changed everything for me. And then this idea that I could choose a different future or a different past. Oh my God. Okay, I grew up in an alcoholic, abusive family. That's just a fact. And I have a whole string of words to describe my father, none of which I can say on a Sunday morning. Well, that's just the truth, isn't it? What if I chose a different past? What if I chose a past that said he was doing the best he could? What if I chose the past that said I didn't choose that, he chose that, and that no longer has to be my reality? What if I chose a different past by telling a different story about that past? That was the opening for me for forgiveness, for letting go of the trauma and no longer walking around in the world as a victim, because I chose a different past in which I was not a victim. Same facts, same experience, but a different past. Something you might want to explore if there are stories you're still telling. Choose a different past. There's no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. Okay, I get that. You seek problems because you need their gifts. What? I do not seek problems. They come upon me. They are done to me by other people. Oh, wait. Maybe I'm in those situations and have somehow attracted those situations or that part of that person because I need the gift. I need the gift of growth. I need the gift of compassion. I need the gift of awareness. I need the gift of going, wow, I'd like to be more like that. Or the gift of, I do not want to be that way. Am I paying attention? We seek problems because we need their gifts. What an entirely different point of view than to try to manage our lives so we never have challenges or problems. Yeah, I grew up in a Germanic household. I am the queen of controlling. I spent years trying to control my life, mostly very poorly. What if all of those challenges were things that were actually invitations? Things that I had actually sought out so that I could grow into the seed that was the truth of my being. What if all the challenges that you have faced or are currently facing, you have sought because there is a gift? What does that mean? That means every time there's a challenge, what can we do? We can ask, what's the gift in this for me? Sometimes the gift is letting go. Sometimes the gift is saying no. Sometimes the gift is the practice. Who knows what the gift is? Sometimes the gift is walking through our fear. I'm not going to let my fear stand in the way. Whatever it is, to begin to ask, what is the gift? Oh, and this was also where I began to confront. In this particular one, I began to confront the idea that, no, I just do not believe that it is the will of God for us to suffer. Okay, I'm a good Catholic. I have as much guilt as a good Jew. Ooh, man. Right? Yeah. No. We suffer because we're not paying attention. We suffer because we are not contributing. We suffer because we are not using our gifts to make the world a better place. It's not the will of God. And I'm not just here to learn lessons because I'm broken, nor do I believe that we are here simply to become a karma-less person, which basically means we're doing nothing. We have no engagement or no interaction because it's impossible not to have rippling effects of anything we do or say. No, we're here, we're doing these things, we're engaged in these challenges because we need the gift that is in them. Okay, let me just tell you that just blew my mind, and I began to stop worrying about making mistakes. I tried desperately hard not to always be run by the need to do it right or perfectly. That has been a gift I've had to learn over and over and over again. A cloud does not know why it moves in just such a direction or at such a speed. It feels oh, wait, did I miss one? Wait a minute. Oh, no. I missed it on my notes. Here it is. This is my all-time favorite. Argue for your limitations? Sure enough, they're yours. I can't do it. It's too hard. I'm too old. I don't know enough. You know, because of what happened in my past, because of how I look, my race, my age, my background. Do you know how many people, when I first got to Texas, and I began to have a relationship with a woman, and I was a minister, and how many people said, how is that possible that you're doing that in Dallas? Because I'm not limited by any of those things. What are you doing with your ministry in Dallas? Wouldn't it be more fun to do it on the East Coast? No. This is where the work is, and this is where all you beautiful people are. Why should I argue for my limitation? Oh, I work in such a conservative environment. And you know what? If I argue for that limitation, it is going to be mine. Stop arguing for our limitations. That means we stop complaining about them. We stop bringing them forward. We stop over and over and over obsessing about the things that stand in our way, because that just cements them in place. Now, yes, granted, I am actually limited by a 5'9" female body of a certain age and blonde hair. Do you know how stupid people think blondes are? The blonde jokes they're not true. Let me say that again. The fact that people think through blonde jokes, that's what's true. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, you're so smart. You're really good at that. Oh my God. And I can talk about the glass ceiling. I can talk about gender discrimination. I can talk about all those things. But I don't, because I will not argue for my limitation. I will not. And one by one, I find either a way to break through or a different way to work with it or a different way to see it, right? Sometimes the limitations are, in fact, space-time continuum physical limitations, but then it's how we take them up. One of the most unlimited people I have ever met was a practitioner we had here for years who was in a wheelchair. At 19, she had a car accident, severed her spine. She'd been in a wheelchair for probably 10 years. She was the most whole, unlimited being I had ever met. She was in a wheelchair. Do you see the limitations aren't only physical? Let me say that again. If the limitations don't necessarily focus on the physicality, it's up here that we limit ourselves. Always. It's up here that we limit ourselves. A cloud does not know why it moves in just such a direction and at such a speed. It feels an impulsion. This is the place to go now. But the sky knows the reasons and the patterns behind all clouds, and you will know too when you lift yourself high enough to see beyond horizons. Learning to have the 30,000-foot view. I remember when I started to say to myself, in the ultimate scheme of the universe, really, how important is this? That person looked at me funny. I didn't get the job. I was crushed because that person didn't like me. In the ultimate scheme of the universe, really? Are you kidding me? How important is this really? In the ultimate scheme of that 13.8 billion years of this particular incarnation of the space-time continuum, is there a higher point of view, a larger, longer point of view that I might take? The sky knows. And the idea that there's an impulsion, right? There's an impulsion. In the science of mind, that impulsion is love. The desire to give ourselves to life. The desire of life to give itself to us. That's what moves us. And when we can see that, from that 30,000-foot level, do you see we can also see that about others? We can recognize the truth of their being and how it's veiled by falseness, false ideas, just as we are, and our compassion grows. You are never given a wish without also being given the power to make it true. You may have to work for it, however. Well, shit. Okay, I know all about hard work. I know all about hard work. Oh, you can't go out to play until you've done your chores. Oh. That is not what this means. Ernest Holmes says everything has to be paid for in mental and spiritual coin. What is the work that we have to do? It is the work of becoming the spiritual being that we know we are. It's the work of becoming healthy, of becoming whole, of becoming self-aware, of becoming someone who has the kind of life and can give the kind of contribution that we would like to do. Do you see? That's the work. And sometimes it is a little hard. There's just no question about it. We don't have to affirm that that's a limitation, right? We're not going to argue for the limitation. But we do have to do the work. This is what keeps our spirituality from being magical thinking. We don't just go, okay, I'm now a millionaire, I'm now a millionaire, I'm now a millionaire, and think it's going to drop in our lap. No, we have to become the person that deserves and believes they deserve and can accept that kind of good. Do you see the difference? It's not working hard to make $1 million, controlling it, walking all over everybody else. It's doing the spiritual work to know that we live in an abundant universe and that it is always flowing and that we can trust that river to lift us above the limitations of our past or our belief systems into a larger, more abundant life. That's the work. And we do have to work at it. We do not teach magical thinking. In order to live free and happily, you must sacrifice boredom. It's not always an easy sacrifice. It was in reading this that I gave up my television. I didn't own a television for 25 years. I didn't own one. Now I have a television on my device. It's very annoying. Facebook, Tetris, games, movies, YouTube, jobs that we don't like, cogs in a wheel that we don't feel good about, but we are clinging to the safety and security of the twigs and the rocks at the bottom of the river. And we are bored with ourselves and our own life. And yet it's recognizable, fills up the time, right? It's not always easy to walk away from those things. Believe me, I am struggling it with myself because it's all so easily accessible now. It was one thing simply not to have it in my house. Now it's in my pocket. And yet that's what stands in the way, our clinging. Learning is finding out what you already know. Doing is demonstrating that you know it. Teaching is reminding others that they know just as well as you. You are all learners, doers, and teachers. I think as adults, we focus only on the doing. We forget that we're learning and we're teaching. That all of that's going on all of the time. And what an amazing way of engaging with life. To allow ourselves to be students again of whatever it is, spirituality, a particular author, a particular meditation practice, a new musical instrument, a way of creating PowerPoints that are completely different, whatever it is, learning, doing, and then teaching, sharing, believing in our own wisdom. You have, in fact, learned and grown, and you have gifts to share with others. Because we're all learners, doers, and teachers. This next one I found very annoying because I found it so completely true. You teach best what you most need to learn. Yeah. So when somebody comes to you for advice or a particular issue that they're having in their life, and you are giving them advice and talking to them, do you listen to what you are saying? And go, am I doing this in my own life? Am I? Am I living this way? Am I really? We teach most what we need to learn. Don't be afraid of that. You do not have to have mastery to give someone else support, love, care, to become a teacher in any way, shape, or form. And it will grow you. There's nothing better to learn something more than to try to teach it to someone else. To share your wisdom and knowledge. Do not be afraid of that. And again, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You will learn in the process. I do believe that as we do this, we do come to the place where we teach from mastery. As we move into that place of wisdom and deep recognition of who we are, we can also teach from mastery. But do not be afraid of this. This was a big, big deal for me, for anyone who is in the helping professions, teaching professions, anyone with children, with anyone that you feel like you are in that coaching kind of experience with, even if it's just one time. You have a light to share. And when you share that light, it will grow you. You yourself will be expanded. Okay, this next one's one of my favorites. The World is Your Exercise Book. Remember these little composition books? Some of you are too young. You haven't seen one. It's okay. When we used to write in them, the world is your exercise book, the pages on which you do your sums. It is not reality, although you can express reality there if you wish. You are also free to write nonsense or lies or to tear the pages. What if I just didn't want to do it? Whatever it is. What if we tore up a part of our life and started anew? What if we didn't know how it was going to work out and just started writing nonsense and saw what happened? Oh my goodness. The idea that I could take my exercise book and simply tear out some pages. Doesn't have to be perfect. More importantly, this is how free we are. You can, in fact, make a mess of your life, and the universe does not judge you. You are free to make a mess over and over and over again. But if you will be led by your learning, playful inner self, all those messes have gifts. And you can ask, what is the gift? And then learn and grow. But we are free. We're free to move. We're free to change jobs. We're free to try new things. We're free to become somebody else. We're free to reinvent ourselves. We're free to say yes. We're free to say no. Oh my goodness. That kind of radical freedom is extraordinary, and it can be very, very, very scary to take up. Your only obligation in any lifetime is to be true to yourself. Being true to anyone else or anything else is not only impossible, it is the mark of a fake Messiah. When we are not being true to ourselves, we are not shining our light, because we are not being the light that we've come here to be. So these are the things we have to confront in our own lives. I had to confront this 10 years into my ministry. I am not a pastoral minister. I'm not. I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I'm a spiritual coach. I'll put my foot in your back as long as you are willing to let me. But if you need someone to really love you up, please go see Patty. This does not mean I don't love you. Do you understand? It's just not my gift. Patty will wrap you in that embrace. Karen will cheer you on. And I'll have my foot in your back. Are you practicing it? What did you learn from that? Are you aware of what's going on, right? But I was taught to be a minister was all about being pastoral. That means hold people's hands, tell them that you love them, never make them uncomfortable, always support them, no matter what. That's what I was taught. So I spent the first 10 years of my ministry trying to be that, and I burnt out of my first community so spectacularly that I took it down with me. It didn't survive beyond 3 years after me. That was a shame, because I was trying to be something I'm not. And when I really owned that my true gift is education, everything changed for me. And I surrounded myself in practitioners who were very pastoral and brought in people like Patty and Karen and all kinds of people who have that, right? They have that. Good, go, do it. And let me do what I do best. You do what you do best. Do you see? The original sin is to limit the is. Don't. Don't. Continually confronting the ways in which we limit the universe as us, over and over and over and over again. It's the only original sin there is to limit who we have come here to be, to limit our light, to limit our love, to limit our joy, to limit our ability to contribute and make a difference, to limit our gifts, to limit our view of the universe. Don't. Keep letting it expand us. And finally, here is a test to find whether your mission on earth is finished. If you're alive, it isn't. Right? Amen. There is always more. Now, I have to tell you that when I was suicidal, I needed this. I needed this. I needed this reminder. If you're alive, not only is there more for you to contribute, but the more that we learn and grow about how we can contribute, the more of that contribution we can make. Do you see? We don't learn and grow because we're broken. We learn and grow because there's a God seed within us. There's a God seed within us that is that tree that is seeking to express itself uniquely as us, as each one of us. That's why we learn and grow. We learn so that we can grow into the fullness of who we are and who we came here to be. So I'm going to make one more invitation to my classes on Tuesday, Universal Spiritual Principles and Practices. It is a whole scaffolding of beliefs that we teach in the science of mind that will allow us to take up our lives entirely differently than we tend to be taught in our homes and in our schools and in our Western and Eastern spiritual traditions. Please sign up if you've not taken any classes, if you're new or you want to remind yourself of these practices, of these principles. It is so amazing to blow out the cobwebs, to blow out the littleness, to blow out those limitations, and to stand in the truth of who we are. You are a radiant, magnificent being of love and light. I am here to support you in letting your light shine. So it is.
Thank you, Dr. Petra. What a tremendous talk this morning. And now is the time when we actually get to support our own selves in our community. May I ask the greeters to come forward with our offering baskets? This is the time when those of us that are pledgers and tithers, we're making good on our promises to support the center. All of you are, though, welcome to support the center in the best way that you can. Make your financial gifts, give generously, because we certainly do affirm that as you give, so do you receive at CSL Dallas. Let's say our abundance affirmation together this morning. Here we go. I lay aside all fear and uncertainty. Every good and every joy that has come into my life is now multiplied. This divine awareness leads CSL Dallas forward into greater love and friendship, peace and harmony, prosperity and freedom. We rejoice in the good for all people, and so it is. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your generous contributions. If you are online, you can use the QR code, or you could text GIVE, or go to csldallas.org/give. Also here on campus, you can do the same. You can drop your gifts into the baskets as they're being circulated. Let me point out now a couple of things coming up. This is hot, right heading our way. The Adventures in Spirit Home Study Campaign is coming up, and right now we're looking for hosts who can help facilitate our online or our in-person groups. No experience is required, by the way. You can host this really easily. All the material is provided, and training will be provided for hosts as well. It's an opportunity to experience a deeper connection with the community of CSL Dallas outside of our Sunday celebrations. As a host, you'll meet with your group. You'll learn and walk through spiritual practices together. So if you're interested in learning more about being a host, we have a sign-up table. Someone can answer your questions out in the breezeway today or in Pankey Hall. And if you're watching us online, there's also a link to the registration there in the comments area. Now, something new called Reflect and Reset. It's time to go on a musical, meditative experience, and it's brought to us by our own Dr. Petra and our music director, Kirby Welch. It's starting the second Sunday of September from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock here on campus. You can join for a time to reflect and reset yourself. This is a time for music, introspection, reflection, quotes for inspiration, ideas to meditate upon. This is an environment of personal and spiritual reflection. There also will be group discussions and insights and revelations. It's a free experience. Again, it's offered every second Sunday of the month at 7 o'clock. Plan to make this a special time for yourself. It's a great way also to introduce your friends to CSL Dallas. So bring them along with you on Reflect and Reset Sunday, Reflect and Reset on the second Sundays from 7 to 8. Also, circle sign-ups. So you all may be aware that we have circles here called Circles of Life at CSL Dallas. These are smaller groups. These are smaller groups of people within the larger community. They meet on specific topics. You can join us in Pankey Hall to learn more about it. So you see what all the various circles are, and one of them may hold interest for you. And so check it out. See if one of them is the right fit for you. We have another thing coming up too, and that is going to be our engagement fair. And we just lost our place. Okay, fortunately, Cecilia's here. Cecilia, when is it? September 18th. So after service on September 18th in Pankey Hall, we're going to have an engagement fair. Engagement fair allows you an opportunity to check out teams. Now, we talked about circles just a second ago. This would be larger groups on teams, do so many volunteer activities, so many ways to get involved. It's a wonderful way to expand your own experience with CSL Dallas. Make yourself available. I'll tell you a quick experience of mine. When I went the first time to CSL Dallas, way back on Alpha Road, a tiny little place that we had in a shopping center, and it was about my second or third visit. And I really liked it. Like you, I came back. I was, hey, I think this is pretty cool. And Reverend Petra said, we're going to make little altars around our sanctuary here, and if you would like to volunteer to help collect up things from various people, you can bring your things to the center, she said, and we'll organize them. We'll put them in little altars. We'll make it kind of little sacred spaces. I said, well, I want to do that. So I stayed after that Sunday, and there were 5 or 6 people, and practitioner Karen Lundgren, remember Karen? Yeah. Karen said, okay, everybody was interested. Come right over here. Okay, now, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a little group together, and we'll make these altars. Everybody on the count of 3 point to the leader, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and everybody pointed at me. I was brand new. I really did not know why everyone picked me as a leader at that particular moment. And I tried to say, no, I don't want to do that. But remember, there were also 4 or 5 other people who wanted to play and didn't want to be the leader. They wanted me to be the leader, and I was okay on that. I did it. But get involved. Everybody got involved, and we started creating sacred spaces around that little place, and we continued, and now here we are in one of the greatest, largest sacred spaces I've ever been in, and it's because of you. When you volunteer, when you become engaged, then we grow. You get better, and we get better. So please, come to the engagement fair and see what's there for you. All right, I think that's it. That's all the announcements. We have one really, really special last thing. When you leave, you go across to Pankey Hall today, then we want you to see we have a new artist on display. And that artist is Sharon McGregor. We know her well. You didn't know she was a painter? Well, now you're going to find out. She's quite a painter. She's worked with our youth in the nursery in Joy Village. She's a practitioner. She's a shaman. She's a deep person that you need to know. And are you here today, Sharon? Are you in the sanctuary now? Okay, great. So you'll get to see her. If you're not sure in your mind who it was, that's Sharon. Go over there, see this awesome artwork, and meet Sharon, one of our fabulous folks here at CSL Dallas. Okay, so that's it for today. Let's all rise as we are able. Let's sing out the celebration with the CSL Dallas music team. Thank you.
All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. and me. Take your past and set it free.